It's when he swung it easy at three-quarter golf swings, and he pretty much hit his number all the time. Dude, but when he hit something full, he hit it 20 yards over the greens at times. He's like, what are you doing?
He's just smiley, happy, and a freakish athlete golf robot that's going to be right there winning majors for the next 10-plus years. It's amazing.
Did you say he was smiling or smiley?
Only on SportsGrid.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
People that bashed him will be eating their words this year.
Pretty heavily favored to be a first-round pick, minus 400 earlier this week. But that's not the surprise.
If you're drafting J.J. McCarthy in the first half of the first round, you clearly believe not only is he a starter, he's going to be your starter for years to come. But
a popular bet was under 3.5 wide receivers in the first round.
The tape doesn't lie, baby.
Only on Sports.
Let's roll. This is SportsRage. I am Gabriel Morency. The pimps, the players, the hustlers, the people that bust them, and everybody else in between. The Wicked Wednesday has begun. We've got a full house on the program tonight. Countdown to the National Football League draft. Less than 24 hours away. There will be a draft special on tomorrow night that we will not be part of. So we will be back on Monday. So tonight we're going to unleash all of our NFL draft best bets. And we've got quite a few of them. And we're going to have more before the final bell tomorrow night, although it's difficult to find value. Like, you really have to go through. There's like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of props and different options, and we really are going through all the fine print to find the best bets. We'll share what we've come up with. Speaking of best bets, anybody that took the Miami Heat on the money line tonight, cash large. The Miami Heat hit 23 three-point shots tonight. They beat the Boston Celtics as 14.5-point underdogs. The game went over the number, and the series is now tied at 1. Meanwhile, the Oklahoma City Thunder and the Pelicans, late in the first quarter, 2:42 left, 26-18 right now. The Oklahoma City Thunder leading by an 8th spot. Tragedy strikes in Toronto once again. The Toronto Maple Leafs fall to the Boston Bruins this evening. The Leafs had their opportunities. The Leafs were down 1-0. The Leafs tied the hockey game. And basically every time the Leafs would tie the game, Boston would score right again after. And then there was an empty netter to finish things off. 4-2 final score in Toronto. Now the Bruins are up 2-1. Vegas and Dallas in action right now as we speak. Critical game for the Dallas Stars. You don't want to spot. Listen, you don't want to be down 2-0 in any series. Let's just be real. But it's much, much worse if you've lost the first 2 games at home. Then you've got some serious problems, right? You got big-time problems. So the Dallas Stars, is it a must-win? No. We can't. We're not going to sit here and tell you they absolutely positively have to win this hockey game or they're going to lose the series, but it certainly won't help. It won't help them, I'll tell you that. So, yeah, the Stars and Vegas Golden Knights are scoreless. Shout out to everybody joining us on Sirius XM Channel 159 on the SportsGrid radio and television networks. The LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers haven't dropped the puck yet. I think the Oilers are going to win this game, but they're not going to smoke them like they did in game one. The LA Kings will be much better tonight. I think Edmonton won't be as good tonight because it's just human nature. Subconsciously, they're going to think, man, we rolled these dudes. We'll roll them again. It'll be the same type of game again tonight. I know Edmonton's talking. They've talked a good game today. I saw the pregame press conferences and the players' quotes talking about they know the Kings are going to bring it tonight and they're ready and they know that game one means nothing and all the cliches. But let's see if they actually live up to it. And quite frankly, the Oilers are really good. We know this. And when the Oilers are clicking like that, they're unstoppable. But the LA Kings are better than they showed the other night as well. The Kings didn't play well to start that hockey game, and they just fell behind. The Kings aren't a type of team that can play from behind. But I do think Edmonton win the game still tonight. They're, we're talking about a 2-1 favorite. So you got to lay a little bit of a price. If you want to lay the puck line, it's 205 right now. The total is 6. If you want to lay a puck and a half with the Oilers, you're getting plus money, plus 135. Like I said, I think it's going to be a closer game. I think the way to approach this is if you like the basketball game, if you think Oklahoma City is going to win, parlay the Oilers to win with Oklahoma City to win, and/or an NFL draft prop. And in fact, that's the route that I was thinking we're going to go. Why not add another NFL draft bet on top of the pile that we've already got right now? One thing that we didn't bet, I didn't bet it earlier. I didn't really like the odds, and now that it's sort of here, it is what it is. The over-under 4.5 quarterbacks in the first round. I personally don't think that Bo Nix is going to be drafted in the first round. So I know there was people, there's going to be 6 quarterbacks taken. I don't think there will be. All right. But I do think there'll be 5. Right. You got Caleb Williams. You've got Drake May. You've got J.J. McCarthy. And you've got Jaden Daniels. And I don't believe that Michael Penix is going to get out of the first round. I know that some very respected NFL mock, draft experts, Mel Kiper being one of them, has Penix going 37th overall to the Raiders in the second round. I personally don't think that Penix will get through that sort of quarterback gauntlet of teams that need QBs, of Minnesota, Denver, the Raiders. There might be others. Somewhat of breaking news as far as my guy, J.J. McCarthy, is concerned. J.J. McCarthy appeared with Rich Eisen, and Rich Eisen, of course, is a diehard Michigan Wolverine fan and alum. And so he had J.J. McCarthy on tonight, and he point blank asked him, so J.J., what's your feeling? Is there a team do you think you could end up playing for? A lot of times people will say, well, we met with a lot of teams, and, I'm just going to be happy to play with anyone. He didn't even hesitate. He went right into it he said, the New York Giants. And he went right into it and said, I've spent a lot of time. And, we can go over his exact quotes a little bit later on, but he basically said, I spent a lot more time with the Giants than anybody. And he went on in detail about how he's met with the offensive coordinators. He's met with, the owners, the coach. He's like, the coaches are great guys. I know a couple of them. I know the offense already. He was bigging it up. Basically, he's a New York Giant. Now, listen, a lot of times players will get surprised because they'll hang around and they'll meet with teams a lot and they don't end up get taken by them. And not to mention, maybe somebody takes them before the Giants. But it was pretty telling, his interview. For the record, to be the 6th overall pick in the draft right now, the Giants have the 6th pick. Are the Giants going to trade up? I don't think so. I think, you know what I mean? If Drake May goes 3rd to the Patriots, the Cardinals and the Chargers, I'm not so sure everyone's trading up like the media thinks for this. So I think the Giants are thinking, if J.J. McCarthy is there at 6, we'll take him. But we're not going to trade up for this, but we'll take him at 6. It's plus 500 right now. So his interview really didn't move the market, which doesn't really mean so much. There's NBA basketball games going on. Right, and this just sort of hit Twitter and social media in the last hour. The clip of him talking about how he thinks he's going to be a New York Giant. So, the number really hasn't moved, but I'll tell you what, numbers have moved for a hell of a lot less than the actual player himself telling you that he's met with one football team a lot more than any others, right? So J.J. McCarthy to the New York Giants could be a thing, which, they have absolutely no talent at all. They've lost everybody. So it's not exactly the best situation to be put in, but as a J.J. McCarthy fan, I'd rather see him with the New York Giants than the New England Patriots, even though I have money on him to go to the New England Patriots. I've got the exact order bet of Williams 1, Daniels 2, and J.J. McCarthy 3. A lot of people believe that Drake May will end up being the third pick in the draft. And as I stated, a lot of people, including J.J. McCarthy, believes that he is going to be a New York Giant, unless J.J. McCarthy's throwing us a curveball and he knows, hey, I'm getting drafted by the Patriots, but I'm going to tell everybody it's the Giants just to throw everybody off. Because I got to tell you, if I'm the Giants, I wouldn't want players. Like, I wouldn't want him. Like, if I'm Daniel Jones, I'm sitting at home watching the NFL Network, and here's J.J. McCarthy talking about going out to dinner with my coach and the offensive coordinator and how he knows people that are coaches there. And I'd be like, all right, Daniel Jones would be on the phone with my agent saying, all right, where are we playing next year anyways? So we got a lot of stuff to break down tonight. Oilers and Kings, live in-game. Pelicans and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Heartbreak City in the 6th tonight. The Bruins take the series lead. And the Miami Heat beat the Boston Celtics.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
To the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. And that's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a Posturepedic, what do they call it? A Sealy's, whatever it is, those things. He's ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
$37-22 for the Oklahoma City Thunder. 11:27 left in the second quarter of play. So the second quarter has just begun. It's a lighter night tonight. The Thunder just hit a three, so 40-27 right now. In-game total is 221.5. We do have two hockey games going on. One of them hasn't started yet, but it's about to. The LA Kings and the Edmonton Oilers in Edmonton. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Dallas Stars have played 14 minutes of hockey, still scoreless, which is a good thing if you're Dallas. We saw what happened the other night. Dallas defensively just fell apart, so they've tightened things up here tonight. The first goal will be important in this game. Let's bring in Brady Cannon and Cam Stewart right now. Brady, good to see you. Cam, how you doing after the Toronto Maple Leaf disappointing loss tonight? Series not over. It's only two games to one.
It hurts though, Gabe. You know what I mean? It's just one of those things. You get the lead at home, and then you give up a crap goal, and then, even when they tied it up 2-2, I'm like, okay, overtime. Then Marchand just scores. It's just like, you know how it is, buddy. It's just one of those things. I feel the Leafs are a lot like the Bills. They're a great team, but they just can't get over the hump. But it's not over yet. But that was a big loss tonight. Big loss, buddy. Big loss.
Yeah, I've been saying for years, there's a lot of similarities between the Buffalo Bills and the Toronto Maple Leafs. And it's a tough spot to be in, Brady. And quite frankly, I'm going to include your San Francisco 49ers in this conversation. Because what do you do when the team is really good, but you're not winning?
Yeah.
Right? Like, if you're the Toronto Maple Leafs, you're not going to say, let's trade Austin Matthews. We can't win. We scored 69 goals this year. If you're the Buffalo Bills, well, our quarterback sucks. No, you got Josh Allen. Like, no, we got a good defense. We have a good coach. We have a good everything, right? But, to me, very similar. Like, the Leafs tonight played well. They played well. Did. Momentary lapses of reason and sanity. They get burnt with 2 minutes left in the period. Then they give up a goal with the first minute. And it's like, all right, you know what, guys? We played well for 55 minutes of the 60 minutes. Those 5 minutes of errors cost us the game. And very similar, Brady, with the Buffalo Bills, where you look back and you'd be like, how did the Bills lose this game to the Chiefs in the playoffs? Like, didn't Davis have 3 touchdowns? Didn't he do this? Didn't he have that? And it's like, well, 13 seconds, right? There's just always that. And it's funny. I just saw the Bears 30 for 30 for a couple of minutes today. And I saw Mike Singletary saying, a lot of teams are good, but the hard part is finishing it off. And that's the whole thing, isn't it? To finish it off, finish the job.
Hey, Cam, I want to ask you, I know as a 49er fan, Kyle Shanahan's a great coach. He hasn't been able to necessarily finish it off. And I think he's probably still learning how to do that. And I also think one day he's going to figure it out. I don't know who the coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs is, but is that maybe the problem? Or is he really good?
I'm going to tell you this, Brady. I don't think it's the coach necessarily, but Gabe will agree with me. When you look at the NHL coaches, he's not on the top end. He's there. I don't think he's a great coach. I don't think he's horrible, but I think there's a lot of better coaches.
A good way to put it, Brady, is the Leafs are sort of like the Cowboys. He gets along well with the organization, right? Yeah, he's a company guy. Good hockey man. He's been around the game forever. But I will say this, you can't really compare. The fact of the matter is, not that hockey coaches don't matter, but they really have a minuscule impact compared to a football coach. Like a football coach has the most impact on a sport, on a game, right? Like an NBA game, the coach can set the tone and stuff. Your stars are running. They've got the ball. Right. Luka Doncic is going to do what he's going to do, right?
You're right. I'm just trying to figure out why they can't, why they have this decade-long drought of not be decades. And you wonder, is it the coach? Do they need a guy that can, get them to the finish line?
You know what it is,
you
Brady?
wonder what the missing link is.
I hate to say this, and Gabe will agree, they're very unlucky. They're just, I don't really understand. Like, you think water finds its level. That was what Brian Blessing used to always say to me. Why? But it doesn't find its level with the Leafs. They play, and Gabe brought up a great point at the start. They have these lapses, and when they have a lapse, they lose. It's very simple. They have to play a perfect game to win, and they don't. They have 3 or 4 minutes in 60 that don't work, and it kills them every time.
You think you think it'll be a pick'em game next game, game 4?
Oh, it'll be the same. Yeah, it'll be the same odds. The Leafs minus 115. Right all over again.
I think I would
favorites.
probably bet the Leafs in the next game.
It's a must win for them.
It is.
Right? They haven't dealt well with pressure, but at the same point in time, hockey's a weird sport, man. Like, it's different than other sports in the sense. The Vancouver Canucks, a good example. Like last night, I was at game 1. They won game 1. They lost last night. they created, like, dude, last night they literally had 83 shot attempts in a hockey game. 83 shot attempts. They created like 25 legitimate scoring opportunities. They hit the goalpost 3 times. They broke sticks on an empty netter. They missed empty netters. They fell down in front of the empty net. It was just a comedy of errors. They just couldn't buy a goal. And they lost the game, but they won game 1, and they scored 2 goals in 12 seconds. They didn't really play that well. Boom, boom. They scored 2 goals in 12 seconds. They ended up winning the game because it shocked the Predators. Oh, my God, we were winning 1-0. Now we're losing 2-1 suddenly. It was like, what just happened? And it just switched so fast. But it goes to show in hockey, in these hockey playoff games, if you slip up for 30 seconds, 10 seconds, 5, it's a lot like living in Vegas, right? And I was always a line when you live in Vegas, right? You could be smart, man, for 23 hours. You know, Brady, like, you could be smart for 23 hours and 57 minutes a day. But it's like, man, I slipped up. It was like 140, and I did this, and I bet on that, like, sat at a table. Like, it's hard, like, not to make a mistake for 24 hours. It's like hard not to make a mistake in the entire game. That's what happens to these teams.
And Gabe, I watched that game again. Vancouver had like 50 chances in that game. Nashville, like, blocked shots. Vancouver missed open nets. That's the thing about hockey, Brady. It's different than other sports. You could dominate and lose. That's
yeah, I've seen that for sure.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
To the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. And that's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, what do they call it? A Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
All right, we've had a couple of goals. The Dallas Stars have just taken a 1-0 lead on the Vegas Golden Knights, and the LA Kings have scored an early goal on the Edmonton Oilers. Just 5 minutes in, 1-0 LA Kings. Total 6.5, minus 135 to the over right now. Dallas Stars and the Vegas Golden Knights. The total is 5.5, and the Stars are now minus 320 as far as the basketball game is concerned. The Thunder are rolling the Pels right now, 47-31, with 6.5 left in the first half right now. So we'll keep our eye on this stuff. We got Brady Cannon in the house. We got to get some golf picks. I see that the PGA Tour decided to give Tiger Woods $100 million. And Rory McIlroy, listen, I want to get to the picks. I don't understand how, like, to me, this would be like saying, okay, let's give Wayne Gretzky money to fix the NHL ratings problems. I'm like, well, he's not playing anymore. So I don't really see what this does for, like, all these other players that could actually leave. You gave money for him for not leaving before. I get that. But somebody asked us the other night about Greg Norman's comments, and I didn't know what the comments were, but he actually sent it to me. And what they were, Cam, he said that Scotty Scheffler, the only reason that Scotty Scheffler wins so much is because all the best players are on the LIV Tour.
Oh, jeez.
And that's what he said.
Jerk comment. Really bad.
Yeah, no, it's just he's classless, this guy. And Scotty Scheffler, being the classy guy he is, he goes, last time I checked, I thought they all played in the Masters. That's what Scheffler said.
Good comeback.
That was Scheffler's.
That
was his answer.
Perfect. That's awesome. I love it. Guy's got an answer for everything these days, doesn't he? I mean, he's absolutely incredible. And hey, everybody in the field's got a chance this week because he's back at home waiting for a baby to come.
Yeah, him and Nelly Korda are giving everybody a week off. They're like, all right, you guys can finally win a tournament.
Good call, Gabe. Here's the thing about Norman, too. It's like, dude, you fell so short, like the Faldo at the Masters and all the things that you do. Like, shut up. Like, what the hell? Like, why are you even making, like,
well, it's one thing, Cam, if he's a businessman with LIV, but he's just classless the way he goes about it. His comments, just everything. Like, it's like, if you're just a businessman, fine. You associate with them, no problem. But it's the way, like, he's just a jerk.
He is
Ask Chris Everett, but that's another story.
Cam, I firmly believe, tell me if you agree or disagree. I firmly believe, had Greg Norman, when he had that 6-shot lead, or when he barely lost to Olazabal in 93, or when he almost caught Jack in 86, whatever the case was, had Norman won a Masters, we wouldn't even know, LIV would not exist. We would not be here today had Norman won a Masters.
That's a great call, Brady. I think it's a lot of resentment towards the fact that he failed at the biggest stages, and it's just one of those things. It's like he never wanted to conform after that. And Gabe brings up a great point. Like, guy's just a jerk. He never says anything good about anybody. It's always knocking people down.
Yeah, he's been sued more than a corporation has. Like condo deals, real estate deals, wine deals. Like, there's always something. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's been years of this. He's sort of the perfect. That's why they thought he would be the perfect guy to do it.
Yeah.
They were like, who's willing to who's sleazy enough to actually do this? Greg Norman, right? Like, that's I'm just being real. Like, they're like, get Greg Norman, that guy. Yeah. Get that guy named the Shark. He'll go and destroy. He'll try to destroy the tour, right? But nevertheless, so. What's this? The Zurich. This is team format golf, right?
Yeah.
So it's a little bit different this week. Teams of two.
Tough. Right.
And one thing we know is that Cantley and Schauffele are a great team whenever they play together.
Yep, they're boys.
They are. They won this thing in 2022. I totally dumbed down the risk this week. I played 5 outrights, not for a whole lot of money. It's really tough to call. Cam knows it's hard enough to pick one guy. Then you throw in, make it into a team dynamic. You really can't quantify how they're going to perform. You're talking about camaraderie and chemistry and complementary skill sets. I looked at probably the 2 things I looked at the most were current form and complementary skill sets, where they can kind of ham and egg it off of one another.
Yeah.
I came up with Colin Morikawa and Kurt Kitayama, Tom Hoagie and Maverick McNeely, Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin, Team Canada for you guys, Alex Smalley and Matty Schmid, and then finally Nico Echevarria and Max Grazerman. So we'll see if we can get one this week.
Digging deep.
All right, we'll get his reasoning why on the other side. Brady Cannon with us. The Vegas Golden Knights responded after Dallas scored 1-1.
Very good.
In the Big D.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
For the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He's ready to roll. Dominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I'm Morency. Brady Cannon in the house with us. The LA Kings are up 1-0, 10 minutes into the hockey game. The Vegas Golden Knights and the Dallas Stars are tied at 1 after one period of play. And the Pelicans are going on a run, a little bit of a comeback right now. They were getting smoked early. It's 53-42 right now with 4 minutes left in the first half. Brady Cannon with us just for a couple of more moments. So I like that Team Canada play right there, Brady. Why not roll the dice with Team Canada there? And I'm going to be Captain Chalk on this with Xander Schauffele. These are the one type of formats he doesn't choke in. Like the Olympics, same thing. You know what I mean? Like it's not the same pressure. He's such a good golfer, but there's no pressure. It's not a legacy event, this event. Right? It's just money on the line.
It's a good point. Absolutely.
No one will remember you winning this, right? So there's no pressure on him.
And I played Team Canada. Go ahead, Cam.
Yeah, sorry, quickly. See Woosnam's comments about Cantley. He's like, this idiot, like, because the tournament was like going whatever, and Cantley hit like a second shot. He should have just walked off. And Cantley's like, well, if in the sunlight, I'm going to get a better score. And he ended up like making more money because if he kept on playing in the dark, he might have, like, you saw what Hoagie did, right? He took a 9 on the par 4. And he finished 18th instead of top 5.
Isn't Cantley the guy that refused to wear the USA hat because he didn't want to mess with his the tan line? That was him.
Yeah. Him and Schauffele are best friends. They go on vacation. Their wives are tight. Like everything's cool with those guys. They play well in this event, big time.
I played Team Canada though, guys. Nick Taylor and Adam Hadwin, like what I was talking about, current form and complementary skill sets. Current form. Nick Taylor won in Phoenix, finished 12th at Bay Hill. Adam Hadwin has 3 top 6 finishes this season. Hadwin's got the brilliant short game. Taylor's the ball striker. They finished runner-up here last year, so apparently it works. So I'm on them this year. It's, Morikawa and Kitayama. They're buddies out here in Vegas. They have very similar skill sets, but Morikawa's been real hot with the putter of late. They're both in good form. So I like that one. Hoagie and McNeely is a total complementary skill set. Again, short game with McNeely, ball striker with Hoagie. Smalley and Schmid both play Pete Dye courses really well. And then Echevarria and Greiserman also both in really good form with multiple top 10, top 15 finishes over the last 6-8 weeks. So, the last two longer bombs there are kind of just a couple that I swung for the fences, but at the same time, they make some sense. The three shorter price teams I took, you're probably going to get a winner from that price range. It's more likely, I believe, but I also believe this is a tournament because of what we talked about with it being so random and hard to handicap. You could have someone come out of nowhere, and that's a little bit what we saw last year with Davis Riley and Nick Hardy. They came out of nowhere on Sunday and beat a couple of guys, good, again, make sense teams that I had put together, and Keith Mitchell and Sunjay M and Wyndham Clark and Bo Hostler came back to beat him on Sunday last year. So, just some fun with it, guys. I don't think you need to get too heavily invested because this is a little bit of a weird one.
You know what the problem is, Brady, with this tournament, Gabe? It's almost like one guy does great and the other guy sucks, and you got to be friends with the guy. Because if you don't really like the guy, like, you know what I mean? Like, they put some teams together. It's like, you're my buddy. You're not having a good week. It's cool. But you saw Sunjay M was, like, on fire, and Mitchell sucked that weekend. And he's like, help me, bro. Like, all I'm doing is chipping in. Like, Mitchell was horrible in the weekend. Remember when they were leading, Brady? It's just one of those things.
I remember it well.
In this game, it's a friend tournament. Like, you want to play with a guy that you're comfortable with. That's
it's a chemistry.
Yeah.
The seems like there's like 500 teams that entered into this thing, though. Like, I'm scrolling and I'm scrolling.
80 of them. Yeah,
80
teams.
Is there 80?
Yeah.
33 make the cut. 33 in ties make the cut on Friday.
Hale Jr. and Haley II are the longest shots at 600 to 1.
I think they're descendants of Hale Irwin.
Probably.
Like I said, like you got some interesting pairs
playing
here.
in the tournament. 65-year-old Russ Cochran is paired with Eric Cole. I mean, what's that all about?
So you got a couple of team candidates here, though. You got Corey Connors and Pendrith, and you got Nick Taylor and Hadwin. Well, you like the Taylor and Hadwin team better, right?
I do, because Pendrith and Connors are kind of cut from the same mold a little bit. Both ball strikers. Pendrith's a big hitter. Neither one of them can putt very well. So, I like Taylor and Hadwin much better.
It's funny, Gabe. I took, like Brady, I have the other Canadian team, Pendrith and Connors, hoping one of them can putt. Because
there you go.
Pendrith murders the ball, and Connors is a great iron player. It's about their putting. If they putt well, they'll be there.
No love for the Tagala and Zalatoris team.
That's my actually. You know what? That's my favorite team.
Not great odds though, but interesting pairing with those two.
Yeah, I got them at 10 to 1. I was looking on our book; they're down to 6 to 1 now. It's like people are like.
I see plus 750 right now.
Biggest liability.
So it's all over the
MGM.
place. Yeah.
I wrote an article.
That's the biggest liability for that team?
Most handle, most tickets, biggest liability is Zalatoris and Tagala. Everybody loves the commercial, the Wild West Gunslingers.
Yeah, that's right. They're good, though. Zalatoris is playing good, and Tagala's amazing.
It is a really good-looking team. You just don't know if it's going to play out. But, that team's strong for sure.
I can see them having a real nice competitive edge. I think it's a good pairing, actually. I understand.
I'm fans of both guys. I like them.
I just wish we were getting better odds. What about McIlroy and Lowry?
Fading.
No love for those?
Yeah.
I know Carver likes him because he's Irish. I have a matchup bet. Tagala and Zalatoris at plus money versus Lowry and McIlroy. Here's the thing about McIlroy. The guy's wedge game reeks. Lowry's a very solid player, but I look at them. What is their weakness, Brady, both of them? Putting.
Yeah.
I would rather have Tagala and Zalatoris. I think they're better putters.
This looks more like a buddy get-together for those two guys. I mean, they're in New Orleans. They're going to be doing, shucking oysters and playing golf. And I don't know
drinking Guinness?
I don't know how focused they are this week. This is Rory's first time ever playing in this event, too.
Yeah, I was going to ask about Mitchell and Damon, but now that you say that, Josh Allen will probably be chucking it up, drinking beers at the tournament this week there.
Yeah, nobody lead it. Hey, Josh, you want to go and party? It's like, okay, man, let's go. You're right, Gabe. That's a good call.
Hey, Cam, I don't know. You were telling me at the break, you and I have both made very few live plays in our life. and you hit Billy Horschel on the alternate event. You hit Joaquin Neiman at a live event. I hit Burmester. I'm doing a thing with Carver now on Wednesdays where I've got to dive in and handicap the live. So I came up with 4 plays. I think this tournament they're playing in Australia, this golf course, for me, it's very much like some of these small, tight dogleg courses on the tour, like Harbortown, like Colonial, like Sawgrass. And so I picked guys that did really well at those courses. I came up with Tyrrell Hatton at 12-1, Abraham Answer at 25, and then a couple of longer bombs, Kevin Na at 65 and Jason Kokrak at 60. So I figure my chances are pretty good. 4 guys out of 54. I've got a decent shot anyway.
Hey, one thing about it.
Gabe wears his shirt better than Kokrak. He's got the Jason Kokrak, the same Hawaiian. Gabe looks better in it than Kokrak. But where's Kokrak been?
Yeah,
he's been like
he did well at the beginning of the year. He finished 6th in Jeddah and 5th in Las Vegas. And last couple tournaments, he hasn't been good. But, he won at Colonial. He's got top 10s at the Players. He's got top 10s at Harbortown. The course seems to make sense in my mind, for that type of comp.
Here's a non-golf take as far as the live. The European dudes and the South African guys, they will do better. They don't feel any shame at all. There's no, like in Europe, people like vacation in Dubai. They vacation in Saudi Arabia. It's like a vacation spot for them. The Americans feel ostracized. Those European guys, they're just living their life. So they're playing. They play up for, it's not.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad, bad, bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
For the 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will see a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. And that's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He's ready to roll. Denominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
This is SportsRage. I am Morency. We could have a replay here, a review, although it's going to be tough to tell. The Edmonton Oilers shot the puck. The puck was bouncing in the crease, and no, it's not that tough to tell. Actually, did it actually cross the line briefly for a second there?
Yeah, that's it, man.
Let's see. Here's a better angle. No, it's tough to go. He's blocking it.
Oh.
No, I don't think it's
you
in,
know what,
bro.
Morency, you're right. I don't think we have a camera there because the player blocked the camera.
Yeah, so my point is that it's inconclusive. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
you can't prove
you're
the
right.
puck crossed the line and another thing, just sort of logically, the guy on the Kings was lying across the line.
You're right.
And you couldn't
You're
see the
right.
puck behind him, right? But one thing I noticed in that little melee, someone on the Kings put their hand on the puck. I saw like someone did. Like you could see him deliberately. He was trying to push so I would definitely be checking this out. But you can tell as well, no one on the Oilers is freaking out that it went in.
You're
right. They're sort of like confused, but no one's like, oh, it went in. Let's see. No, it didn't go in. I'd be bitching about the hand on the puck thing, but that's not reviewable. Yeah, I don't know, McDavid's like, yeah, look at McDavid showing him the hey, McDavid, God, I got a good eye. McDavid's doing the same thing. He goes, look for the hand. He touched the puck. Yeah, look. I saw the same thing. Watch, Buddy tries to grab the puck. I think he did. Was it Doughty? Nevertheless.
He's in the net, but we can't prove that it's over the line because
it won't
he was
be a
lying
goal.
across.
And you won't be able to prove that he was able to touch the puck. I didn't even see him touch it. I just saw him reach for it. Situation room in Toronto. Set it live to the brass rail on Bloor Street.
I've had 9 scotches, and I think it's going to be a penalty shot. I saw it.
They should tell him. Right, they come on. This is my time. All right, the DJ comes on. All right, everybody keep it down. We're going live here nationally. The NHL headquarters is going live. Now everyone be quiet for a minute. The dancing stops. What's up, Paul Bovey?
That's the best.
Did they ever find that guy that sent the tape over to TMZ?
No, I'm sure they're still A-Rod's still wondering.
Yeah.
Maybe if that never happened, A-Rod would have more money to buy the T-Wolves. You got hit with the divorce settlement. See, that was the downfall right there. So we'll see what happens in this game. But my assumption is they're going to come back and it's going to be much ado about nothing. They're going to say, well, we couldn't prove anything about anything and let's go. I think that's what's going to happen here. As far as the NBA game is concerned right now, Pelicans are sort of lurking, Paul. The Thunder were pulling away early. It's a 13 spot at the half right now, 63-50. In-game total is 220.5. The Pelicans are getting 13.5 right now. What are your thoughts on the first half of this game, and how do you think it plays out in the second half?
Actually, Gabe, I did not see the first half, so I'm going to take a step back. I was actually looking at some information for the show, draft picks, draft potential plays. So I didn't see it, but I think the Pelicans are live here. I do. I would step in because you're getting a huge number, and I just think this team is playing well right now. And I'm not worried about guys out of the lineup because whenever they have that situation, it seems like other guys are stepping up. So I would grab the points here.
See, 13.5 is a lot. I'm already on the Pelicans plus 7.5, so I don't like chasing stuff, but if I was jumping in cold here, Cam, I would take the plus 13.5. I think the Pels will go on a run. They dug themselves an early hole. They've been chipping away and hanging around since.
I agree. It's too many points. I'm going to tell you this, too. Gabe, total, what do you think, 219.5? Little light?
It's been This is higher scoring than game one was. The series has been lower scoring than I thought. I mean, game one, that was unbelievable, Paul. They 94-92. I don't think many people saw that coming. Right?
Shocker.
But yeah, you know, at 113, you'd only need 107 points to get there right now. I would lean with the second half over 2-0 for the LA Kings right now. So as Paul mentioned, it is the NFL draft, and I'm up to about 13 bets right now, 14 NFL bets. For tomorrow, I've really started to stockpile quite a few of them. But let's keep it on the hardwood right now. There's been so much talk, Paul, about the officiating, what happened at MSG, the double bang. It's been a very fun series so far. Now they're out of the confines, and it was a hell of a run for New York teams at MSG, guys, as the Knicks and Rangers went 4-0 on 4 consecutive days. That doesn't happen often, Mr. Paul Bovey. You know what I'm saying? That the Knicks and Rangers are like, the Rangers won, the Knicks won, the Rangers won, the Knicks won. Come on, this is New York. The teams don't win in New York. Like, there's a rep that they do, but they don't. It's actually quite a run that they're on right now. But now they got to go on the road tomorrow.
Yeah, we've had quite a dry spell, but it looks like things are getting a lot better. And I don't expect them to win tomorrow. I mean, look, they've been very fortunate in the first two games. I do expect them to win the series. I said that last week. As you could see, I stepped up heavily on the series, and I have some options now, which I like. I could get out. I could look for a 7-game series play because I don't think Philly will be able to win 4 straight. So if Philly does prevail, it'll go to a 7th game. But what's the odds of the 76ers winning in MSG on a Saturday night or Saturday afternoon? It'll be Kentucky Derby Saturday, and beating the Knicks in a pivotal deciding matchup. I don't see that happening. So I'm in a good position right now, and I think the Knicks will prevail. And look, this to me is their year. And Miami takes down Boston. You never know. Miracles could happen. If the Heat would ever take down the Celtics, I think the Knicks would have the inroad to get to the finals and meet possibly the Denver Nuggets the way it looks right now, although the Lakers, I think, will get a game here.
We've got a goal. The Edmonton Oilers are on the board. I believe it's Connor McDavid. No, it wasn't. It was not McDavid. And it wasn't Hyman either. Sorry, Cam. Not Hyman.
I know. You know me. I'm a Hyman guy. I think I can't guess. Was it Hyman? Was it Hyman?
Hyman had a hat trick.
No, it wasn't Hyman.
Your gut says Miami is going to win, and you should take the over. Your gut also said your NFT selfies would only go up in value. They didn't. But your head is on SportsGrid and knows the QB is in concussion protocol. The backup has a 45 QBR against the zone coverage. The New York D has the most sacks in the league. So yeah, trust your head. It's smarter to be on SportsGrid.
Game Time had 35 in the first half, Cam. And then, of course, he did not have another point the rest of the game.
Lillard's, it's playoff game time. This guy will show up. He will hit shots. Indiana, you better respond here because I'll tell you, that's a bad loss. We were wrong, Carver. Like, hey, I admit, I was on the Pelicans. This game, I lost.
Pharrell Coast to Coast, only on SportsGrid.
The 2024 Stanley Cup odds, the Hurricanes remain the favorite, followed by the Panthers and the Rangers. Interesting that they all are coming from the similar side of the bracket.
While the Oilers have the top-end talent, I still don't think they have enough depth, and Stuart Skinner does not scare me in net. So I will take a long series from the Oilers and the Kings, and ultimately I think the Stars are the ones coming out of the West for the Stanley Cup.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
The Philadelphia 76ers, who are the second best team in this Eastern Conference by a mile when Joel Embiid is healthy. That's just what they are. So now, if Giannis isn't available, the Bucks would be dogs in the series.
He ain't sleeping on that air mattress anymore. He's got a regular king-size bed, a posturepedic, whatever they call it, a Sealy's, whatever they do, those things. He's ready to roll. Dominating tonight.
Game time decisions, only on SportsGrid.
I'm not the smartest man in the world, but I'll tell you what, I'm noticing a trend in these NHL playoff games. Whenever there's a goal, the other team is scoring like 10 seconds after all the time, like immediately after. It's happening like over and over. We saw it tonight with Boston and Toronto continuously. We saw it tonight. Dallas scored. Hey, the building goes crazy. Boom. Hey, Vegas just scored. It's like, well, there goes the enthusiasm.
tonight, same thing. LA scored the first 2. Edmonton rifle in a shot. Kulak with his first playoff goal. And then they barely had time to announce the goal, and the LA Kings have scored again. 3-1 right now with a minute left in the first period of play. Overbettors are liking the look of this. Another wild one at Edmonton.
Doughty scored, Gabe, your guy. Great goal. Here's the thing about Edmonton. They're one of those teams that I know they have all the talent in the world, but they play so loose. It's just one of those things, like, down the line, you can't play this loose. Like, that's the whole thing. Their defense and goaltending and the way they play, it's like,
I think you got fooled. I think you got fooled by a replay for whatever stupid reason. I don't know why they showed Doughty like crashing the net and stuff like that, but he was wearing a black jersey. They're wearing a white jersey. I was wondering about that.
So
they were showing highlights. They were showing highlights of, I don't know who scored, but they were showing highlights of Doughty and his career type of deal. Like, so.
Okay.
I think you might have been fooled by seeing a highlight of Doughty and it wasn't him scoring. I'll find out who actually scored here in a second. 7.7 seconds left in the period. So what are the Kings now? Because and the Oilers. What's the line? I think the Oilers will come back.
I do too. What are we getting?
It's good if they've locked it because there's a little melee going on here. Little scrum. So they've locked it up. All right, so Paul, Nick Nurse, I've seen this firsthand. I've talked about it for years. Nick Nurse and Kyle Lowry together, these two, they constantly chirp the referees all the time. And Nick Nurse did this in Toronto all the time, but he does it like throughout the entire game, like just all the time. They don't like him. And you see it. They don't get calls. He thinks, they ignored me on the timeouts. And the league admitted, she should have gotten one of the timeouts after. So the Sixers going to get all the calls tomorrow. That's where I'm going with this. So you expected the Sixers to get the calls at least early in this game?
Well, as far as Nick Nurse, you have to find as a coach a happy medium between being an agitator and being passive. You can't sit back and let every call go against you, but you can't be overly demonstrative when something goes not your way and it's marginal, because then the refs are going to take a stand against you. I expect Philly to get the benefit of at least a few calls. It's the way the NBA works. And sometimes they want to ref teams back into a game, ref them back into the series. And let's face it, the NBA has a vested interest in series going 7 games. What would be better than a 7th game in Madison Square Garden, Rutgers fans, Celebrity Row against the 76ers? So I'm expecting Philly to get the win. Look, as you know, I'm heavily on the Knicks, as I mentioned, but you got to face facts. This is the NBA. The Sixers are home. They're going to get some calls, and they may play better.
The Denver Nuggets are laying 1 point right now against the Lakers tomorrow night. Interesting NBA card. And similar situations, both teams blame the referees after the fact. LeBron James said, what's the use of having a replay if you're not going to get it right? AD did the mic drop and stormed off, off the podium without bringing up that he didn't score any points in the fourth quarter of that basketball game. But they're 1-1 against the spread, Paul. They can play with Denver. Denver are better in the clutch. They pull away at the end of these games. What's your take here on Game 3? And do we get the Lakers' best effort here? But they've lost 6 in a row in the playoffs to these guys now. They got swept last year.
Yeah, first of all, as I mentioned last week, I'm on this series to go to 7 games. So right now, I'm behind the 8 ball. I realize that. I'd rather be going back to L.A. with a 1-1. But eventually, teams break through. I believe the Lakers lost 9 straight games. They've lost 6 in a overall, 6 games in a row in these playoffs the last 2 years. But those games have been decided by 5, 6, 2, and 2. In 4 of them. So they've been very close shaves, and eventually, just like Phil Mickelson will break through, Michael Jordan broke through. It took them 5, 6 years to get a championship. The Lakers will break through. I expect them to do it tomorrow night, show some mettle, and get the win.
More with Paul on the other side. This is Sports Rage.